born in San Francisco, California. She grew up in Redwood City with her parents, Wesley and Cornelia Landstrom, and half-brother Wesley Jr. Betty and Wes enjoyed playing with stuffed animals, a wood frame swing made by her father, puppies and kittens, her tricycle and red wagon, harvesting vegetables from the garden, and playing at the beach. A rope tied between Betty and Wesley Jr. assured they wouldn't be washed out to sea. Betty's favorite doll was Hepzibah, a biblical name suggested by her mother. Her father worked as a streetcar operator in San Francisco. During the Great Depression, he started a health food business in their home garage, which evolved into Landstrom Health Foods, later sold to his brother Lloyd, and expanded into GCI Nutrients, reaching international markets. Betty easily learned to read and write, as seen in this letter she wrote to her father at age 7 and signed it, "Your Little Betty." She attended Redwood City Church School, where values of faith and service began shaping her life. Later on, Betty's family moved to a ranch near Lower Lake, California, where Betty helped with chickens, cows, the garden, and fruit trees. She attended prep school and Pacific Union College in Angwin, California. While teaching during the school year at Westlake SDA School, she earned academic credits at PUC through summer courses. She graduated in 1953 with a BA in elementary education. Although she considered teaching in Africa, the General Conference advised postponing mission work until she married. So, she moved to the Placerville area and began teaching at Camino Placerville Junior Academy, CPJA, in 1953 and 1954. That year, one of her second-grade students, Eileen Adams, climbed onto Betty's lap and asked her to be her mommy. By the end of the school year, Eileen's wish came true. Betty married Celian Adams, becoming mother to Eileen and Ellen. Together, they lived in a ranch house on 120 acres of forest property in Mosquito, California, where they cut veneer blocks and later 16-foot logs, hauling them to local sawmills. Wherever she was, Betty poured her energy into all she did. She manned one end of a 2-person chainsaw and drove the tractor, pulling and loading logs using a cable and pulley system with bell hooks. Betty also kept busy maintaining the household and raised 3 more children, Freddie, Linda, and Lanita, born between 1955 and 1961. Logging in winter was difficult, so the family spent months in Mexico, visiting friends in Guadalajara and Oaxaca. During the winter of 1957 and 1958, they traveled from California to New York, Florida, Texas, and into Mexico, towing a teardrop trailer with their 1949 Chevy sedan. At Montemorelos School and Hospital, Rozelle Kelly told them about a newly established school called Colegio Linda Vista, 1,000 miles further south in Chiapas. The Adams family fell in love with the people and the location, nestled in a small valley surrounded by mountains covered with pine and oak forests. The nearest city was 80 miles away by a rough mountain road, mostly unpaved. Betty and Celian began volunteering there each year, eventually staying full school terms. Among many other things, Betty taught English as a foreign language. Celian put his logging skills to use, helping mill lumber and using a tractor he purchased in California and arranged to be transported to Linda Vista. He also transported supplies for the school and later used a portable chainsaw mill to cut lumber for the school's furniture factory and to build churches in remote villages. Their children attended classes with Mexican friends. Lifelong friendships blossomed in the beautiful, pine-covered mountains of Chiapas. Summers at the family logging operation back in California funded these yearly Mexico trips. Life for the Adams family was always changing. They spent summers in California and the school year in Chiapas, Mexico. Each trip took about 10 days, and their overloaded vehicles often broke down. Sometimes they had as many as 17 flat tires in one trip. At first, the family stayed in homes with school staff families, But in 1965, the school built them a rustic two-room cabin that was 15 by 25 feet. It was small, but adequate. A wood stove was used to cook food, heat water, and warm the house. A gas refrigerator kept their food cold. Betty and Celian slept in a bed near the front door. The children slept on a bunk bed and a cot, and there was a small room for the bathroom and storage. Since there weren't many vehicles on campus, Celian helped by bringing bananas and other food for campus families. They also distributed used clothes from the U.S. to poor families in the mountains. Some of the items made people laugh, especially the rabbit ear hats. Celian and Fred's Honda 90 trail bike and Harley-Davidson motorcycle were great for quick trips to nearby towns or even the city. Almost every Sabbath, the Adams family and students from Linda Vista went to visit villages in the mountains. They walked, rode mules, or drove to get there. Most of the time, they held Sabbath school programs for the children. Sometimes the adults asked for help with church services. They liked the felt pictures that helped explain Bible stories. Children from the Chamula tribe didn't speak Spanish, so the programs were translated into their native Tzotzil dialect. The villagers were thankful and often shared simple meals of beans, tortillas, and eggs with their guests. Besides teaching English classes throughout the week, Betty helped in many other ways. She worked with Pathfinders as a master guide, helped with Dorcas projects, managed the school cafeteria until she was worn out, played piano for the school choir, went on choir trips around southern Mexico, and stayed busy with many other jobs. Once in a while, Betty and Celian got to explore nearby places of interest, such as the Palenque pyramids. Summers in California were full of activity. The family worked cutting firewood and logging, visited friends and family, gave mission talks at churches, and the children sang Spanish songs nearly everywhere they went, which they often resented. The family went to camp meetings in Soquel, Springville, Utah, and Redwood, took camping trips in old cars, and even hiked to the top of Mount Whitney. For their 25th anniversary, Betty, Celian, and their kids camped on Mount Lassen and climbed to the top of the crater. Celian loved old cars and kept them running with lots of tinkering and care. He and Betty often took family and friends for rides in the old cars around their 120-acre property, through the Mosquito community, and sometimes to town, or as far as the start of the Rubicon Trail in the Sierra Nevada mountains. They hauled manure, firewood, lumber, and people. Their collection of cars included a 1930 Model A Ford Roadster and pickup, a 1952 Chevy pickup converted into a unique wood splitter, a 1928 Ford Model AA truck, a 1955 blue Chevy sedan delivery purchased for $300 from a mortuary, the well-known Canary, a 1957 yellow Chevy carryall that made 40 round trips to Chiapas, several 1973 Ford Pinto station wagons, and a 1969 Volkswagen Squareback that had belonged to Betty's mother. Betty drove all these vehicles and others that were free or purchased for just a few $100s. She learned to drive at age 17 in her parents' Willie's Woody station wagon. Her dream car was a 1948 Chevy Club Coupe, but her parents gave her a Plymouth sedan instead. She finally got her dream car at age 80 when a neighbor sold it to the family. By then, she didn't want it anymore, so it was fixed up for her granddaughter Krista's wedding, and Betty and Celian got to ride in it. Celian also fixed up Lenita's 1956 Chevy for Candace and Jason's wedding. One special car was the 1941 Mercury Coupe that Celian and Betty used when they eloped to Arizona in 1954, with Celian's daughters Ellen and Eileen as chaperones. 50 years later, they quietly celebrated their anniversary with a few family members in Maine. The newest car they ever owned was a 2001 Subaru Outback, which they used until they stopped driving in their 90s. They never owned a brand new car. As Freddie, Linda, and Lenita completed their lower grade education at Linda Vista, they attended schools in the U.S., while Betty and Celian continued volunteering their services at Linda Vista. In 1981, Betty and Celian returned to Placerville, caring for Betty's mother and later, Celian's parents until they passed to their rest. Betty worked hard in the garden along with her husband. She continued helping Celian cut lumber with the two-person chainsaw, even after age 80, and worked splitting many cords of firewood. In 2006, Celian broke his hip, and she had to assist him even more. She helped him a lot in the garden, getting tools and parts he needed, repairing cars and tractors, and countless other projects he wanted to do. She also devoted herself to church activities, providing bilingual support through Adventist Community Services. As a faithful member of the Placerville SDA Church since 1954, she was always proud of her long-standing membership. She attended every Christian women's retreat at Leone Meadows since they started, a total of 41, always sharing cabins with her daughters, granddaughters, and close friends. Even after settling in Placerville, Betty and Celian frequently returned to Linda Vista, often assisting Fred and Diana during their time there between 1984 and 1997. They brought supplies, offered support, enjoyed interacting with special friends, and basked in the ideal climate. Over the years, our family has built so many cherished friendships at Linda Vista that we've frequently encountered these dear friends during travels across Mexico and even in the U.S. Without fail, they welcome us with heartfelt hugs, open their homes, and treat us with kindness that makes us feel like royalty. In 2002, while attending the ceremony as Linda Vista became a university, Pablo Salazar, governor of the state of Chiapas, arrived by helicopter. His brother had studied at Linda Vista, and he immediately recognized and warmly greeted the Adams family. Betty enjoyed mission trips throughout Mexico and Central America, often translating as she served alongside family and friends. Redwood Camp meeting each summer was a family highlight. It was a great place to get away, enjoy great meetings, spend time with family, and meet old friends. Celian was baptized in the nearby Eel River, and Betty supported him by being rebaptized. Daniel and Glory were married there in 2016. In her later years, Betty devoted herself to caring for Celian at their ranch apartment, tending to their garden, and using a wood cook stove to prepare his favorite dishes, such as split peas, lentil roast, and her delightful apple cobbler. Her delicious meals often resulted in a loving kiss between them. When Celian turned 99, Betty gave our family a good laugh when she said she'd never slept with a 99-year-old man before. Many family members and a few friends gathered at the ranch to celebrate, and Celian enjoyed seeing these special people in his life. He could no longer use the chainsaw, but he often cradled it lovingly on his lap. Celian was mostly bedbound as he neared his 100th birthday and their 66th anniversary. He suddenly said, "Let's go!" Victor and Linda took him around the ranch for one last time, where he'd accumulated 80 years of memories, including ones using his beloved Oliver Cleatrack dozer. Celian's worn-out body gave up just a week after their 66th anniversary and 10 days before turning 100. They both hoped that when their time came, they would go together. But Betty lived nearly another 5 years. She moved to Camden, Maine, to live with her daughter Lanita and son-in-law Norman. She helped organize Creative Memories supplies, packed items for shipping to clients, baked cookies for CM events, prepared food for the church potluck every week, and stayed in touch with loved ones via Facebook. She remained active until a sudden health decline led her to hospice, where she rested until the resurrection at age 94, surrounded by daughters Linda and Lanita, grandnephew Terry Ziegler, and her adopted little sister, Sue Morrison. She is survived by her children, Fred Adams, Linda Adams, and Lanita Medina. Stepdaughters, Gloria Weldy, June Mitchell, and Janet Taylor. Also, 9 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren, and 4 great-great-grandchildren. Former students remember her as a beloved teacher. Friends and family were deeply touched by her compassion, selfless service, thoughtful kindness, and lifelong dedication to serving others. As As a family, we deeply appreciate the many displays of affection shared by our friends in Mexico and the United States through messages, cards, calls, and emails. Each one has been a true blessing to us. Because our families are scattered around the country and we all showered her with love while she was alive, we are not planning a memorial service, either virtual or in person. This video will be in her honor. In lieu of a memorial service, donations may be made to Vista University, where Betty and our entire family left our hearts, having served there for many years. Contributions will provide tuition assistance for worthy, needy students. Tax-deductible donations in the United States, checks are preferred to avoid credit card fees. Please include a separate note indicating that the donation is for Linda Vista Worthy Student Aid in memory of Betty Adams. You can mail your check to Mission Projects Incorporated, P.O. Box 504, College Place, Washington 99324. Website www.missionprojectsinc.org. Use this QR code to go directly to the MPI Donate page, where you can select a project, specify the amount to donate, choose your payment method, and find other options.
Why should